Hello, Gaston County. Welcome to episode number 70 of Gaston's Great, a podcast, I think, highlighting some of the great things happening in and around Gaston County. I'm your host, Stephen Long, and we are continuing to come to you from the international headquarters of GSM Services right here in downtown Gastonia, as we look forward to having some great discussions in the coming weeks and months. We simply believe in discussing more of the reasons why Gaston's great. We have another great organization this week as we highlight the McAdenville Women's Club. We have Ashley Westmoreland, Kristin Turner, and Roxann Rankin with us today. Ashley is past president and chairman of the Christmastown 5K. Kristin is a past president and chair of Publicity. Sorry, I had to work on that one. And Roxann apparently is everything there is about the McAdenville Women's Club. Historian, past president, Renaissance woman, everything McAdenville. So we're very fortunate to have you guys here, and welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
So we are going to get right to it. So maybe start with you, Ashley. Just maybe tell us a little bit about yourself, anything you'd like to share. And then we'll get into the organization after that.
Ashley Westmoreland. I've been a resident of McAdenville since 2013. I'm a resident of Gaston County and native of Gaston County. So raising children in McAdenville is everybody's dream. You get to walk your kids to school, and it's just a great place to be.
Very good. Kristin, how about you?
Kristin Turner, actually same year as McAdenville as you. I don't know if I've realized that. And have a daughter in middle school, and we just stay busy this time of year.
Very good. Roxann?
I'm Roxann Rankin, and I am a fourth-generation McAdenville resident.
Oh, wow.
Raised there, did everything McAdenville growing up. Excited to be here today to talk about our organization and about all things McAdenville.
Very good. So moving right on to the club. So Roxann, maybe stay with you. What can you tell us? What is the organization? Maybe a little history. Anything, the mission, what a purpose, and just anything you'd like to share about the organization.
The organization was started in 1954. And I think at the time, it was a group of women, because in the 50s, everyone who lived in McAdenville worked for Farr Yarns.
Right. Okay.
And so the wives just sort of formed this club, and they started working with Farr. 2 years later, they started the McAdenville Beauty Pageant and did things like taking underprivileged children, gifts and things like that at Christmas, and just doing small things. As the 60s rolled around, people like my parents and started, having babies, and my mom and a lot of her friends joined the Women's Club, and it just sort of changed through the years. Each generation brings their own uniqueness, I guess, to the club, and it just grows every year. I mean, with every generation as it goes along. So it's been kind of cool to watch, because as a child of the 70s, I was often with my mom at the different things they did. And one of the things they did in 1970 was to form the McAdenville Young at Heart Club, which is still in existence today, and I'm one of the chaperones for that. So it is pretty cool. We've done a lot of things through the years, and we don't have nearly enough time to talk about it, but it has been pretty cool for me. So I got to watch the club sort of morph through the 70s and 80s and 90s, and then I joined in the 2000s, and now with all the new residents in town, have an opportunity to see it even grow even more with social media and things like that, and with members like Kristin and Ashley who can think outside the box and see the future.
Is there a specific, for lack of a better term, mission or purpose, or is there something you guys are specifically trying to accomplish for the town? Or
Well, this goes back to 1954.
Okay.
And
Good.
McAdenville Women's Club, we stand for the betterment of our community, and the purpose is to secure united effort in the development of ourselves, our homes, and our community. Our colors are green and white, and our symbol is the dogwood.
Huh, okay, very good.
And we have held that since 1954.
All right, so that's very good. So, Kristin, what about you? What is your role? How did you get involved with the organization? Just can you share anything you'd like to share there?
Well, excuse me. Like I said, moved to McAdenville in early 2013. And one of the biggest things that we do is we sell shirts around Christmas, the Christmastown apparel. Sweatshirts, hoodies, and every year has a different design on it. And I kind of dabbled in design work, graphic design work on the side, not professional by any means, but they were having an issue. I wasn't in the club, but they were having an issue with that year's shirt and what they were going to put on it and some problems coming up. And so one of my neighbors came to me and said, "Can you help?" And so the rest is history, and I think I've helped design every shirt since 2013 at this point,
Right,
close
close
to it.
So some of the ones that I have in my
Yes.
exercise drawer from running it, is that
Yes.
you're responsible for that?
Yes.
Okay. Well, they're fantastic.
Well, thank you.
She's very talented.
Yeah.
Very
Thank you.
talented.
So Ashley, what about you? How would you answer that about what's your role? How did you get involved? And
Well, when you're in McAdenville, we're a very small town, and all of the boards kind of run together. So I started out with the McAdenville PTO, which was very active because we have children there, and then quickly joined the McAdenville Women's Club just to kind of learn what was going on in town. The Christmas Town 5K was the new fundraiser that we had started that year, and I was training for the 5K. I'd never ran one before, and I accidentally volunteered to help Roxann with volunteers, and then I've never ran a race since. So I've actually never even got to run for the 5K because I've always been on the organizational committee. So worked with Roxann to kind of learn the ropes and have been the race director leading the 5K for the past several years. This is year 10, so we're very excited. We've really come a long way. We started out with like 1,000 runners. We're up to 13.
The first year we had 600.
600.
Okay.
Okay. See, she knows a lot.
Yeah.
That year I was not in the club. I was just a resident. So with the 5K, it's grown a lot. I also serve for the FAR YMCA board. So with the board of the Y and the PTO and the race, we really work with the other nonprofits in town to kind of help with their missions and support their missions, and also with the other businesses in town to support, us with the 5K, as well as the other, the YMCA and the schools. So as part of the 5K race director, we're very busy. Our race will be in, 9 days, 8 days?
yeah, we're recording this on November 16th. So,
Yes,
so just
10
just
days.
a few days. Yep.
So 10 days. So this is the race shirt. Of course, everybody in Gaston County will have it by the time it airs.
But this is the world exclusive, even though it's going to be a week after, a few days after the race.
This is actually a sample, so you're very
the
lucky to
reveal.
see
Okay,
it. So
yeah.
Kristin designed this as well. So Kristin helps on the 5K as well as Roxann. We're a small but mighty committee. The 5K was just an opportunity to really get involved and to be part of something that was new and really needed, someone to kind of come in and be part of it because no one was owning those spaces yet. So very excited, and that's where we spend all
So
our
can
time.
we call out is it the elf that typically runs, or I've seen in promotional
Yes,
videos?
yes.
Who is that?
Who is that, Ashley?
So our McAdenville Women's Club has a mascot,
mascot.
by accident. My husband, Andy Westmoreland, which I really wished he would have come and dressed as Buddy today, but he declined.
Buddy, that's right. It is Buddy the elf.
During the 5K and a couple times during Christmas, he will dress as Buddy the Elf and entertain McAdenville. So he's got a striking resemblance.
We need to tell
Will
the
Ferrell.
backstory as how
Isn't
that
it?
happened.
Isn't it possible to find some YouTube videos of
absolutely.
him? Okay.
Probably.
We can tag them in
So what's
whatever you
what's the
need
backstory? Anything we can embarrass him about?
Well,
Sure.
the very first race in 2013, actually, I've lived in several houses in McAdenville, but I was renting a duplex at the time, me and my son, and Andy and I were just dating, and he wanted to run in the 5K. It was brand new, and it was starting and finishing in the backyard of Legacy Park, which is where my backyard was. And so we rushed down from the mountains, and Andy put on this Buddy the Elf costume to run the race, and it was a costume contest. So he entered the costume contest, and because Roxann thought he was Will Ferrell, he won the costume
Now, I
contest.
wasn't the judge, but I was the one handing out
helped
the
with the
prizes.
The whole time she's going, is it him? Is
When
it
I
him?
first, what you have to know is Will Ferrell, of course, the movie was
Elf.
filmed, Legend of, what was it?
Was it Talladega Nights?
Talladega Nights.
Talladega
It was
Nights.
filmed in
That was
Kramer
So
it.
he's been here.
Okay, that's
and
right.
a lot
I
of that
got
was
you.
a lot of that was filmed in McAdenville.
I forgot about that,
Lowell,
yes.
here in downtown Gastonia, and he had been right where the race was. He had been all over McAdenville. Will Ferrell had actually been there and been all over McAdenville.
That's hilarious.
And so I
That's
see
good.
him from a distance, and it's our first race, and everybody's stressed out and kind of running around. And I'm thinking, is it? Finally, when I got close enough, I could tell it wasn't. But I really thought it was him. I'm like, okay, he heard about this. He's come back. He's,
That's
this is
awesome.
great. But yeah, Andy does a great job. We're very, very fortunate.
He's just not as funny as Will Ferrell.
Yeah.
Well-
he's a close second. He's a close second.
Funny looking, maybe.
He's very funny looking. Yeah, he has a striking resemblance to Will Ferrell.
When he goes out on a random December night in McAdenville, it is like Disney World.
Oh, that's
he has to have a handler. People ask for photos and autographs.
It takes
is
hours to come back.
hysterical.
Does it have like an entourage?
Yes.
We are his entourage.
Yes.
So you've mentioned obviously the race, and that's a big thing. Are there any other initiatives, things that you're involved with, within the community, or that you might want to share? And this is a question for all of you.
We have several things that we do on a consistent basis. One is we have a scholarship that's managed through the Community Foundation. It is for McAdenville residents, or a parent can live in McAdenville. So we work every year to hand out money to students going to college from our local town. So that's one thing. And, of course, our two big fundraisers fund all of these different initiatives throughout the year. But we also, the past 2-3 years, have funded Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader?
Oh, yeah.
So that's really exciting because we go to these events, this event, and, they've got all the sponsors up, and, Little McAdenville Women's Club is up there with
good, yeah.
Duke Power and GSM.
Yeah, we've done that. We've done that from the beginning.
Yeah, we get
event.
to help that kind of thing, and McAdenville has the one little school, and I think there might be 2 fifth grades right now, but for a long time there was 1 fifth grade.
Right.
So it's kind of a rite of passage for those kids because it's not a situation at these other elementary schools where they're trying to decide who gets to go. In McAdenville, if you're in the 5th grade, you get to go to Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader? So it's a really great thing for us to fund.
Haven't you participated in that?
I did last year.
Yeah.
Or the past one, whichever one.
But we didn't win, did we?
We were close.
Well, we're coming back at you for
when
2023.
the last time I was on the team, we won.
Oh.
Well, I will say, was it 2020 before everything shut down? Buddy the Elf represented us and won the dance-off with Wes the Wildcat, who was James Jones, who is a friend.
The school mascot has. That's one of the things
James
we did.
and Andy were in a dance-off.
Also a video I can send you.
That's a video.
All right.
Yes.
That segues into something good. While I'm thinking about it, is someone bailed on us. Someone that I've known for a very long time, and we just mentioned James. Somebody's related to her, but Kelly Jones. I had this whole thing prepped that we were going to talk about. We're going to go back to our years at Ashbrook and just how great it was. And you're not here.
She's not here.
However, apparently we've got a better guest anyway.
That's right.
And Kristin. So Kelly, maybe next time when
maybe next
I don't
time.
know. Or maybe I'll just ask James to come next time instead. So sorry, Kelly, but I couldn't let that go. So any other things that are going on? What about you're all three of you, your time within the club? Something you're most proud of accomplishing? Something that just stands out? Like, wow, that was really. Besides Buddy the Elf.
I think the 5K is huge.
Listen, it is.
It's
it has become something that, I mentioned before we started recording, my F3 group who has become involved with it with the Need for Speed group, so it's just a big thing that we look forward to. Every single year. I know a lot of people do, and the fact that it sells out so quickly. I mean, I guess I'm on the email list or maybe social media where I see it. We got this many spots left.
Yep.
So again, that's.
I think this year we have 17 states represented.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Washington, Alaska. So it's
and the
put
lady
Gaston County on the map.
I didn't mean to talk over you.
That's all right.
The lady from Alaska is from Gaston County.
Okay, that's
She
interesting.
She comes back
back
every
to run.
year to run this race. She comes and visits her mom.
Isn't she from
graduated-
North Pole, Alaska?
Yes.
Yes,
Fantastic.
she lives. Her
didn't know there
mom.
was such
She
a
graduated
place.
from Hunter Hush. She's my age. She graduated the same year, and she comes every year and she runs it. The Gazette did a story. I think it was last year.
Oh, that's cool.
But yeah, and that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So, can you think? Are there any, not just the race, but anything initiative you guys have done, whether it's like maybe the scholarship or something? Can you come up? Is there a anecdotal story, a family you've impacted, an individual you've impacted, or another organization or group that you've impacted, in the community that you could kind of maybe share with our listeners?
Well, one of the things that I'm super proud of the club to be able to do is we are a nonprofit, and we have, 2 fundraisers that we actively do in the Christmas holiday time, and then the Community Foundation in April. But one thing that we do is we try to support the other nonprofits in the community as well, as much as we possibly can. The Catawba River Keepers have recently joined us as a neighbor, which has been very exciting to see what they've done in McAdenville. And so we're annual sponsors for them. We often, show up for their projects that they need. There's 2 canoe launches in McAdenville. The McAdenville Women's Club has been part funding on both of those. We helped the boathouse put in an informational sign when they first got started. And our new exciting item is there's going to be an educational fish tank in the River Rooms training facility.
Okay,
So
that's cool.
we get to do that. Also, the school, like Kristin said, it's a small school. It is a Gaston County school, but there's only 160 to 190 kids there. So it's small, and the club does a really good job of sponsoring them every year, putting new signs in when they need it, or, just beautifying the area if they need help with the grounds, buying books, that kind of stuff. And then the YMCA, of course, is a big part of us. The building that the YMCA actually occupies is the community center, is what McAdenville residents call it. And that's where we have historically met. And so that building is very close to our heart. And so we do, with the 5K funding, we also put some of that into help with the building updates every year. So a good chunk of the 5K goes into help push, to renovate that building and keep that building looking great and up to speed. And also the sports. We work with the sports as well and sponsor those.
Yeah, I saw that. So we'll make sure we mention this before we're finished, but I went to the website, and I think that was the first thing that came up when you talk about community or something. I don't remember the tab, but yeah, it was like a soccer player or a flag football player or something.
Our
yeah,
name
yeah.
on the jersey.
Yeah, that was good to see. So, looking ahead, I mean, what do you guys foresee the organization looking like? And you get that classic question, 5 or 10 years down the road, but that doesn't have to be 5 or 10 years down the road. But just what does the future hold for the McAdenville Women's Club going ahead? Besides the obvious 5Ks, is there any other plans you guys have, or?
I think McAdenville is just changing so much this year, especially new businesses, just, different look, feel. But I think it's still the same small town,
right?
In many ways. But I just think we have to be flexible and just, moving forward, just, go with whatever, happens and changes in the town. So we're open to new ideas and do what we have to.
Roxann, knowing the history like you do, what would is there something you can point out? What's the biggest change you've seen over time with the organization?
With the club.
Yeah.
The move on with social media, the 5K certainly has helped. I remember a time when people would come to my parents' door to buy the T-shirts. They were stacked up in boxes, and just to watch it grow and watch what social media has done, being able to have a website, have the shirts shipped out and things like that. That's been big, and of course the 5K has been huge. The very first year, I was very honored. I am now. At the time, I was a little stressed out, but it was a lot of fun, and I think we saw the potential there, and it just has morphed into a premier race in the Southeast. I mean, you read about it, hear about it, and so that's been the biggest change, I think, is just watching how everything has slowly all become on social media, and you don't have to worry about tracking down a club member to buy your shirt, or we don't have to stand out in front of the community center on a cold November day trying to sell them, and things like that.
That's probably, I guess, one of the positives of social media is the ease of getting messages out and recognition, and so which to me is kind of what social media really was originally supposed to be, right? Intended for, right? It's social. It's not, psychotic like it can be in some areas. How many members are there in the club? Do you know?
40-ish. We've ebb and flow every year, but 40.
COVID took us down a little, just because who wants to meet virtually?
Yeah,
we still hung in there,
along with so many other organizations and groups.
But we're the neighborhood has been a big change in McAdenville, and so with all those new residents, there's so many great residents there that are not part of the club yet, and so as we work to kind of bring those in, I think that's really going to change the landscape of the club as well. Okay,
so I'm gonna ask all of you to answer this question, because again, this is a podcast about Gaston County, but obviously the focus today is McAdenville. So Roxann, I'm gonna start with you on this one. So why would you say Gaston County in general and McAdenville is better because the McAdenville Women's Club is here?
I think because we give back so much, we may only give college scholarships to McAdenville residents,
Sure.
but these residents, these kids come back, most of them do, and they contribute to the county. And just like getting involved with Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader, and now this race, which benefits, we don't just necessarily, while we do support the McAdenville nonprofits, we go outside of McAdenville. If there's a need
Sure.
at the Crisis Pregnancy Center or somewhere else, we give back to anyone who comes knocking on our doors. So
Right.
I think that Gaston County's fortunate to have all the nonprofits they do that work together, but I think that the club, the McAdenville Women's Club in particular, just in the last decade, has really made more of a footprint in the county than they had previously.
Okay, very good. So I asked Roxann first on purpose, so it might make y'all's answers harder. I figured she would have a very thoughtful, historically based answer. But I'm going to ask, Kristin, I'm going to ask you that question as well. Is there anything you could add to that?
I think that, I think McAdenville in December is one of the, if not the biggest tourism draws in this county. And I think that the club has elevated that. 17 states coming for the 5K. We work, alongside, the group that puts on Christmastown USA to help promote it and add new things to it. And I do think that the visibility of that maybe has increased from the efforts that the club has put forward. And that brings, I think, a lot more money into our county than people give it credit for.
Oh, sure.
I know people complain about the traffic and whatnot and think we're crazy to deal with it, but it's only a few weeks. But it really, I've been interviewed on a French radio station before. It really puts Gaston County on the map, so to speak. And I think the club has really elevated that with our efforts throughout the years.
Well, listen, there's no question. If we have, we have friends or family or anybody from out of town that comes in around, after Thanksgiving, December, where are we going to take them?
Yep.
Absolutely, we're going to take them to McAdenville.
Right.
And I think when I was younger, when I maybe first started driving, I used to complain about that. But now I don't, because it's just a great, it's a great thing to be able to do. And you're right, it is I was getting ready to say it's a hidden gem. I use that phrase. It's not a hidden gem. It's obviously just a gem for the county. So, Ashley, what about you on that question? Why is Gaston County better? Because the club is here.
I think one of the coolest parts of Gaston County that recently has kind of become more of an attraction is the Carolina Thread Trail and the outdoor activities for canoeing and that kind of thing. McAdenville, the canoe launch in McAdenville that's above the dam has been there for, 10 years maybe? But there's a new one now after the dam. And
okay, I don't think I knew that.
If you don't know where the Carolina Thread Trail is, it goes from Lowell and then it kind of gaps into Cramerton, and then McAdenville's right there in the middle. So we've continued that thread trail and are working to connect that so that you can get from Spencer Mountain down to somewhere in South Carolina. It's huge.
That was just a recent announcement, kind of, wasn't it? Yep.
And so we're right there in the middle of that, and the club loves being part of, any beautification in McAdenville, especially that. We worked a couple years ago to put a footbridge into the thread trail in our part of McAdenville, and before the footbridge, you couldn't get like a stroller or a wheelchair or anything or a bike over without going into a creek. So now that footbridge is there, and we paid for the construction of that. And with just like the canoe launches and all of that development along the river, it's just been a great opportunity to put our funding there and to be part of that, and then know that that's expanding the Carolina Thread Trail, the work of the Catawba River Keepers, and all of the South Fork in that area, because it's awesome to canoe up there. If you haven't done any of those canoe items with the Carolina or with the Catawba River Keepers, you can go for 3 miles.
Oh, yeah.
It's a really cool route. So being part of that and knowing that the connecting piece of that is in McAdenville has been really cool.
So I got to give you a lot of credit. So what you've done, you just named, episode number 14 of Gaston's Grade, the Catawba River Keeper, and then we had the Carolina Thread Trail on, episode 25. Yeah. And you mentioned the YMCA.
Yeah.
We had the YMCA.
And you waited till 70 for us.
I know. You should have hit us up first.
Well, we got you here as quickly as we could.
It's Kelly Jones's fault. She put us on the back end.
That is correct.
I'm just kidding.
And the YMCA was episode 10. So there's 3 other episodes for any of our listeners out there, especially if you're not familiar with the Catawba River Keeper and the Carolina Thread Trail. Those are other two just great regional, actually. Those are regional organizations that make an impact. I had no idea how broad of an area those two covered. So here's actually a question I just thought of. That every listener that doesn't live in McAdenville wants to know: what is it like living in McAdenville in December?
It's like Disney World.
It is Disney. No, they do not pay for our power.
No.
I know.
We do not get
And no, we don't sit in the traffic. We actually have stickers on our cars where the police officers that block the roads will move whatever we need to be moved so we can get in.
Okay. I was hoping there was like some like secret back cave.
There is a
entrance
back cave entrance. There's
Okay.
two, but you have to have a sticker to get through. There's a
Okay.
cop guarding the end of it. Red, green, and white are the lights that are supposed to be shining. Others will put other colors out there, but that's kind of the tradition. What are the other questions we get asked?
People ask if they can use your bathroom. They get mad when you say no.
That's true.
It's interesting. It's interesting.
Yeah.
Yes, they ask you to move so they can take a picture of your house.
Take their family photo on your front porch.
Yes, rearrange your porch furniture for the family photo.
Cool.
It's
Well,
awesome, though. It's a lot of fun. I
Yeah, I
think
mean-
for our kids to be able to walk outside into Disney World every day.
It's a couple of weeks. If it was all year,
That's
no.
true.
Yeah.
And it's only 26 days. I mean,
Yeah.
from December 1st to December 26th. I mean, we say that now because it's November, but December 26th, we will have a huge party.
And we'll be done.
And when the lights go off, we'll all cheer and take our Christmas decorations down.
Yeah. We have 11 months to prepare for the next time.
It's exciting.
Roxann, would you add anything to that, or you've
yeah,
experienced
that
maybe
pretty much
long?
answered all the
You experienced a little bit longer than they
My
have.
experience is a lot longer than theirs. I'm a lot older than they are, but it was always cool for me as a kid too. I hear Ashley talking about the kids getting to go out. You know, we just went out during December, and you walked around until it was time to come home, or till the lights went out. And when I was a kid growing up, it was certainly the traffic was lined up like it is now, but more people drove, more people walk now.
Yes.
Yeah.
And while we welcome everyone, and Kristin referenced it's like living in Disney World, please don't treat it like it's Disney World. It's not.
It's not.
These are private.
house.
These are private residences,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
these people, the people who live there, do it just for the joy of doing it, because they want to give back to the people, to the county, to the state, to whoever's coming there. And that's been the biggest difference since I was a child growing up there, is to watch the difference in how people treat it, just like it is that. My dad actually created the Christmastown website in 1996, by the time internet started hitting Gaston County.
Yeah, that would.
And
about that
we
time,
started
yeah.
he started encouraging people then to walk. And that is what a lot of people do. It is the best way to see it, because when you live on the side streets, like Kristin and Ashley do, you can't drive your car there. You have to stay on the main road. It's the best way to see all the houses.
The last time I actually experienced it personally was walking it.
It is the best way, you know. But for as much as things have changed, they kind of haven't either. You know,
Yeah.
it's still the red, white, and green lights. They're traditional lights,
Right.
And so it's just, I am thrilled personally to know that people are moving into town because they want to live in Christmastown. You know what you're getting into when you come there.
Yeah.
And for people just to jump in and to participate and love the town that I love, that I grew up in, is very heartwarming to me. And it makes being in the club now with all the members and all the new ideas and all the new personalities so worthwhile, just to see the same passion they have that I watched my mom and her generation have, you know, when
Right.
things started changing in the 60s and early 70s.
So I'm assuming, and I could be wrong, but I'm assuming the club is McAdenville residents only.
Live or work in McAdenville.
Okay. So again, I just throw that out there because one thing we want to make sure before we finish is make sure our listeners know how they maybe could help get involved. When is the next registration for the next year's race open up, that kind of thing, so people might be looking out for it.
You can buy a shirt on our website.
Absolutely. Okay. Very
or
good.
Mona's Boutique in town and the River Room, Catawba River Keeper.
Okay.
So hoodies, sweatshirts, get them now because
Absolutely.
they're going fast.
So I'm sorry. Go ahead.
And for
Ashley.
the race next year, since this will air after the race this year, I will say that although walking the lights is great and driving the lights is great, if you want to see the lights without cars in it, you've got to do the 5K.
Yeah.
So that's a
a
very
good part.
unique part of our race. So there's no car lights, and you get to see the town lit up as it will be in December. Registration normally opens around April. We
Okay.
may push it back a little bit because we sold out so quickly this
Yeah.
year.
Okay.
But it's a quick sell.
Yeah.
The only other way to support the Women's Club is we are part of the Community Foundation run
Okay.
that we do in April, which has been a great opportunity for us to, have folks run for us, and also have the match fund for any of our donations. So that's the other way that we raise money.
So that was episode number 2 of Gas is Great. And to Ashley's point is, that is a good way to support organizations because of the matching funds that the Community Foundation puts in. So, that donation can sometimes be 30-40% more
Yes.
when it's done through the Community Foundation run.
Yes.
So is there anything I haven't asked or should have asked before we kind of shift gears briefly to some Gaston County, serious Gaston County based questions? I've done a great job. I've learned something today, and I'm sure our listeners will as well. So if not, we're going to move on to the McAdenville speed round of questions.
Oh, dear.
All right. This is really what Andy wants to know. If he doesn't already, this is what all your friends, all your other club members, community people that this is what they really want to know about you. Yeah, Kelly. Well, Kelly's going to miss out on this. Maybe we can email Kelly and ask her to, since she bailed on us. So Roxann, I'll start with you. You've been here long enough in Gaston County to answer these questions. So, favorite Tony's ice cream flavor? Oh boy,
Lemon.
That is a much more popular answer than I ever would have
Really?
imagined. Yes, and
Never had it.
I'm going to have to segue into another episode of a gentleman named Benny Cherry, who's a good friend of mine, who was the first person I ever heard say lemon. So, Benny, I'm giving you another hard time, for maybe the 10th or 11th time on a different episodes. He was on an episode as well. We actually had a taste testing when the Gaston Business Association was on. We had Tony's Ice Cream, a live,
You missed that one.
a recorded taste testing between, it was lemon, black cherry, and grape were the 3 choices. Actually, I think black cherry won. I don't remember. All right, sorry. I went down a rabbit hole there. Kristin, what about you? Favorite Tony's ice cream flavor?
I'm going to go butter pecan.
Oh, man, that was my dad's favorite.
Cookies
Ashley?
and cream.
Cookies and cream. All right. Ashley, Sundrop or Cheerwine?
Sundrop.
Sundrop?
Or diet, please.
Diet Sundrop.
Diet cherry lemon.
Diet cherry lemon. So you're in. You can't make a decision. You have to go both.
No, I want cherry lemon and diet.
Got it.
I'm straight up hardcore Sundrop.
All right.
No diet, no cherry lemon, plain Sundrop.
Roxann, favorite local restaurant?
Gosh, I saw that on the list. I have so many. There are so many great restaurants.
You can say more than one.
Yeah, I love Barrister's in downtown Gastonia.
Yeah, Barrister's is good.
I love, of course, Giorgio's. A lot of us eat at Giorgio's a lot, and Cramerton. There's so many.
Okay.
If we're talking, there's always ROs. You gotta love ROs, and
My problem with ROs is it's between we have 2 facilities and it's in between the 2 facilities, so it's just too easy to stop. Yeah.
I like
Kristen?
Webb's.
Yeah, Webb's is great.
yeah.
Ashley, what about you?
I'll have to stick with Kyle Fletcher's.
Kyle Fletcher's, very good, other than the core on the inside.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
But, nobody's perfect. Ashley, a favorite outdoor activity, and you can't answer walking McAdenville at Christmas lights.
Can I say
Favorite?
the Christmas Down 5K? No. I'll say.
No, I'm kidding. You can say whatever you want. But favorite outdoor activity in Gaston County, or favorite park, or anything you can
It's
share?
got to be the Carolina Thread Trail and the river stuff with the canoes.
Yeah, it's great.
It's great.
Absolutely.
Yeah, same. We spend a lot of time. You can literally drag a kayak or canoe from your garage to the river.
Oh,
It's
yeah, that's
pretty.
great. Yeah.
I'll say the same thing. There are a lot of great parks in Gaston County, but the Thread Trail is right up there.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, so here's the question, the really only question that matters, and I'm going to start with you, Roxann, and I don't know if you're a fan of sports or just colleges in general, but I'm going to ask anyway. UNC Duke or NC State?
Oh, UNC.
Give me something.
So now do I get edited out of the program?
No, but you just got a sound effect that was,
Wah, wah, wah.
yeah. Kristin?
I was raised by and married to an NC State engineer. So
Well, bless your heart. And
There you
bless
go.
him. He must be a good soul.
he is a good soul. Good soul.
I'm going to go with Appalachian State University, even
That
though
was
that
not
wasn't
an
on your list.
option.
Well, that's okay. Yeah,
I'll pick Carolina then.
If you listen to enough episodes, there's been more answered than those 3.
Appalachian for sure.
Yeah, my daughter is a senior at Appalachian, so she's had a great experience there. Yeah, I mean, it's okay. 2 out of 3. I mean,
we were on College Game
was
Day
Roxann wasn't
recently.
the only one that didn't have the correct answer.
Sorry, Roxann.
Ashley, what is something very few people know about you?
I was born in California on the Camp Pendleton military base.
Oh, really?
My mom was pregnant with me when she was a Marine.
Oh, wow.
And lived there for a couple of years before moving back to Belmont.
Oh, very good. That's interesting. Kristin,
I have no idea. I'm an open book.
that is an unacceptable answer.
I'm second generation Charlottean. How's that?
And you
Wanna go
couldn't
off
and
on
you
her?
couldn't get over the river quick enough?
No, well, no.
Roxann, that was a pretty weak answer, but we'll
It was.
We'll
I
go on
agree.
to, we'll
I
go on
agree.
to Roxann.
Mine cannot be as interesting as Ashley's, but I'm a diehard old movie fan. Spencer Tracy, Katharine Hepburn, Doris
Oh wow,
Day.
yeah.
I love to watch old movies.
Yeah, I have to admit that my wife and I are TCM fans. Turner Classic Movies. There's always find something good there, and frankly, with all the streaming stuff now, you can find about anything,
Anytime you want. It's really cool.
That's really good.
I got into that when I was a teenager. Really loved the old Spencer Tracy, Katharine Hepburn movies, and that just kind of.
Yeah, those are
stuff.
some classics. Appreciate you sharing that. So this is a question I like, just because I'm a big reader personally and pay attention to and try to learn all the time. But maybe Roxann, a book or blog or article or even podcast that you follow or listen to, or a book that you might recommend to our listeners?
Yes, I'll recommend a book that my cousin wrote. It's called "My Chicken Thinks I'm a Quack" by Dr. Jennifer Smith. I recommend you read that book.
My chicken thinks I'm a quack. All right, that has got to make the show
What kind of
notes.
book is this?
It's a real book.
I know, but is it like a comedy? Is it a romance?
No, she is pretty funny. She is a naturopathic physician here. Well, not here. She grew up here, but she practices in Statesville. And she is currently working on her second book. It's about her journey from going to being a school teacher to now being a naturopathic physician who specializes in homeopathy. But by growing up in Gaston County and Stanley, some of the stories are hilarious. And for those of us who grew up in Gaston County, you can appreciate some of the stories that she tells. So,
Oh, that's excellent. All right, that's good.
I don't have an
Kristin,
answer
you
that's
want to follow?
anywhere near
You want
that.
to follow the?
I can't follow
You
that.
want to follow my chicken
I
as
just
a
can't.
quack?
I don't know how I can.
Okay, so for the second question in a row, you're just
She's in the middle. She's in a tough spot.
so she's just indifferent.
I am. Yeah.
Okay, well, we'll just move right along to somebody that maybe has an answer.
I'm really into children's books right now just because I have a 2-year-old,
Bless you.
Goodnight Moon and those kind of things. No, articles, I think right now. It's,
No War and Peace for the
Not yet.
2-year-old?
Not yet. He's really stuck on some, on all the hard books right now, because he can rip them apart at any time. But most of I guess most articles right now we're reading have to do with Christmas Town and all the Christmas stuff and
Right.
blogs about how to decorate a tree. We've been reading those for months. So, I think we're in the running, I think, for the
Again,
yes.
There's
a
USA Today.
USA Today runs like what is it called?
Best Christmas light displays every year, and they nominate us every year.
it's an international contest.
So are y'all like up for any like Hallmark Movie Channel awards?
Well, maybe if you'll
'Cause,
vote. I'm just kidding.
I
What is
mean,
it in, like,
have
December
you
5th?
have they not like called to ask to film a movie? And
You know what? There is a Hallmark movie that has brief scenes from McAdenville.
Okay, really?
I don't ask me the name of it.
Okay.
I could Google it real quick. But
Well,
yes.
I would assume you
It's
wouldn't
in-
have the answer to that question either.
No,
if
I
asked.
don't. I have nothing. But yeah, it's an older movie.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
interesting. I mean,
yes.
I was.
Before the neighborhood.
You know how
was
they
built.
put little shots of town.
Oh, absolutely,
And you'll
yeah.
be like, oh, that's McAdenville.
That looks familiar, yeah.
Yes, that kind of thing.
And it is a Christmas movie.
There was
It is a
also
Christmas
another one
holiday
that was
movie.
shot in downtown Gastonia as well, which I tell you, my wife could probably tell us immediately the name of probably both of those actually.
Mm-hmm.
She's a huge Hallmark fan, and I have to admit that I'm okay with most of them. Is that my man card revocation there
Possibly.
for mentioning that? So good. I appreciate you sharing that, even though there wasn't anything too specific other than Roxann on that particular question. But I mean, here's one of my favorite questions. I mean, we get, because again, we're talking about Gaston County and McAdenville specifically today, but maybe Ashley, start with you on this one. Besides the McAdenville Women's Club, why would you say Gaston County is such a great place?
I love where we are located. I think, you're just close enough to the mountains to be able to
Right.
get away, and then you're, close enough to the beach as well. We're saddled right here near the airport, so you can kind of get in and out. I work for, a national company and actually global, and so to be able to get in and out to an airport where we can get where we need to be is a great place to be. So I think the location of Gaston County is just fantastic and perfect place for us to land.
Okay, very good. Kristin, how would you answer that?
I think that it's, a suburb of Charlotte for the most part, so people are able to get into a big city to work and have, entertainment and cultural events. But then also you can come over here and it's more of a, normal's not the right word. Old-fashioned. I don't even know if that's the right word.
Yeah,
but,
Mayberry-ish.
Right.
And I say
right.
that as a compliment. I mean,
right. Yes. And it's still a small town feel. But then we also have all these outdoor activities. We've got mountain. We can climb the mountain. You can get on the river. I mean, there's just so much to do right here in this area. So.
Absolutely. Thank you. Roxann, how would you answer that?
In addition to everything they say, I think they've hit the nail on the head. We are a suburb of Charlotte, and I think that so many, almost all the small towns now in Gaston County are starting to kind of go back to their roots of developing their downtowns and drawing people in for that very reason. They want that Mayberry feel. They want a more traditional home life. You may work in Charlotte, you may work in Hickory or somewhere, but they want to come home to somewhere that's a little more traditional and to something that they want to be able to relax and be able to enjoy walks in the park or go on the thread trail or go rent a kayak and, go. I just think there's so much here, and clearly by the population boom, everyone else is discovering that too.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, Gaston County, it seems like we're a little left behind with the other counties surrounding Charlotte, but not anymore.
This is it, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
we're the last uncharted territory.
And there's good and bad with that,
Yes.
in my opinion. But you're correct. I mean, very rarely can you have a county that's so close to the beach, the mountains, and we've got a smaller mountain here in the county. It's just such a unique place, and you're correct about McAdenville. And something simple. It's been a while, but I remember more than once. My wife and I just sitting right there on the main street out in front of Floyd Blackie's, just nice weather, nice day, and it does feel, I don't know, disconnected from your phones and disconnected from, it does feel almost like a episode of Andy Griffith, which I'm a huge fan of Andy Griffith, sitting on him and Aunt B and Opie sitting on the front porch, it kind of feels like that. And that,
Kids riding their bike. And
absolutely.
Yeah, neighbors talking with each other. Absolutely.
So, Roxann, this next question, and this is, I say this probably on more than one question, but this literally is my favorite question, and I'm going to start with you. Kind of knowing what you know now, what advice would you give your 20-year-old self?
To definitely lighten up, to not take life quite so seriously that you will get there. Most things, there are not too many things that you cannot get through easily if you just breathe and pace yourself, and I would definitely be a little...
Perspective is something else when you're
now
now versus when you're 20.
I think I would be a little more less serious.
Yeah.
If I had it all to do over again.
I know me personally, there were some things looking back that I thought was a big deal when I was 20. Just was not. Kristin?
Just calm down and trust God.
Okay. It'll be okay.
Yep.
That's good. Follow those two, Ashley.
I would say slow down. I think when you're in your 20s, you're just going to college and you're excited and you're trying to get your life on track, and ready to grow up, I guess, or do that next step. And I just wish I would have slowed down. It'll get there and it'll come, and you'll be not 20 at some point. So slowing down would have been nice.
I don't remember who said this, but I'm a big quote guy too, and I know the team members here at GSM probably get sick of me sharing quotes and all that kind of stuff. But I can't remember who it was, but basically says the only thing I'm sure about life is that it goes on.
Yes.
And so how you perceive that and deal with it just day to day, is interesting. And so before we, the main point, of course, is to bring recognition to the organization. So how can people learn more, frankly, even donate, anything that you want to share about how they can find more information out and make sure that that's clear for our listeners?
I think our publicity committee does a fantastic job with us on
that's
social
right.
media.
Yes.
To have a chair of a publicity is big for our club. We have the McAdenville Women's Club is on Facebook. Kristin and her team run that. You would think we had a professional signed up to do it. They're posting all the time. That's the best way to learn about the shirt sales.
Okay.
It's the best way to learn about our involvement in the Community Foundation and about the 5K. The 5K is also on Facebook and Instagram. And then our website has all the information about
McAdenvilleWomansClub.org.
everything. Yeah.
And I did spend some time on there. It's a good website. You know, I was able to read about the history of it. It was great. I mean, so.
And that's where you can buy our shirts, online if you don't want to get them in person.
We offer shipping.
Yes.
And you can pay with a card.
Yes.
It's fantastic.
Wow, that's different than Mayberry probably.
It is.
And we're moving up.
So before we finish, one thing I want to go back and do, because I'm getting ready to get in real trouble with my F3 buddies. I think I used the phrase "need for speed." I'm pretty sure it's speed for need.
Yeah, it's easy to do.
Man,
Easy to do.
oh, I will catch. I'm going to catch. Well, sorry, I about said what I shouldn't say. I'm going to get a hard time for that one. So that's it is the speed for need group. Part of F3 that pushes the chariots in the local 5Ks, including the Crispintown 5K, and we do have a group of 3 or 4 chariots I think this year that are doing that. So, I didn't correct that. I would be in the doghouse big time. So, any last words of wisdom or anything, guys, you'd like to share before we finish this up? It's really been a really, really terrific and educational episode.
The lights are on at 5:30 and go off at 10:30.
10. Is it 10?
10 or 10:30, Roxann? Okay.
10.
It's 7 nights a week.
So
And they
December-
do not come on December 27th.
Yes.
Do
So-
not come wait for them to come on December
Okay.
27th.
Or we'll laugh at you.
And this is
Every
December,
year.
and this is December 1st, correct?
So
when it
December
starts?
1st at 5:30, off at 10, all days of the week until through the 26th. It used to be different
So
on
what
Saturdays
day
and
of the,
Sundays.
What day of the week is December 1st?
Tuesday.
Thursday.
Is it
Thursday.
Thursday.
Tuesday. I said Tuesday.
Thursday.
Thursday.
So this episode's going to
Is that the day you're airing this
this is going to air on the first day of
No.
of the lights. Yeah,
Look
Thursday,
at that.
Thursday, December.
So tonight,
So we should have this should be
So
like the
tonight-
Hallelujah chorus should be going off at the end of this episode.
Cue the music. I'm just kidding.
Wow,
Well, what time does it air?
we release it. I mean, it's early in the morning.
Okay,
Oh,
so
yeah.
at 5:30
well,
is the
tonight's
tree lighting.
the tree lighting, yes.
So December 1st is the tree lighting. The Yule log is December 15th.
Sounds good.
Okay, so you
Those are the
heard it
2
here.
events. You can check it out
Some
on
advice for
the
the
website.
listeners. Come during the week. There's less
Yes.
traffic, and if you come
Okay.
before school gets out,
Before school gets out.
it will be even better.
Yes.
Okay.
Don't wait till December 22nd.
And the lights are
Just
on
don't do it.
timers, so it goes off whether you've waited in line for 3 hours or
Yes.
not.
No one's manually flipping the switch or looking to see how long the line is on 85.
Right.
The
They go
timer
off.
clicks, done.
Yeah.
But I'd like to say this was planned for us to release that on the December 1st, but like most things around here, there was no plan. It just worked out that way. So, but that's cool, actually. I'm glad to hear that. So, ladies, I really appreciate your time today. And like I normally do, I'm going to finish up with my own book or podcast recommendation and my quote for the week. A book that I just finished reading. It's called The Secret Society of Success, and by a gentleman named Tim Schurer. And it's really it's about taking a different look at how we define success. And that's one reason I like it, whether it's personal, business, it doesn't really matter. It kind of addresses the rat race and how our society has kind of come to define success, and maybe we take a different look at how that looks. And my quote for this week comes from Indira Gandhi, who was a former, I think, Prime Minister of India. And she said, "You cannot shake hands with a clenched fist," which for some reason here, so we're recording this, I guess, a couple of weeks after the election. And for me, that just, we could maybe do a little more handshaking, a little more, less clenched fists when we're having interactions, especially when we're coming out of an election season, which for me is just, let's get over with and go vote and get on with it and control the things we can control around here, like, the good work that the McAdenville Women's Club is doing in McAdenville and also in our county as a whole. So take that book and that quote for what it's worth for you, and use it how you wish. So to our listeners, thanks so much for taking time today to listen to today's episode. Please spread the word if you can about the podcast, and please don't hesitate to contact us here at an email, which is podcast@gastonsgreat.com. We're always looking for suggestions for future podcast topics and guests. You can find the podcast and subscribe at the website, gastonsgreat.com, or anywhere you listen to podcasts. And please follow us on all our social media platforms. And please continue to give us good 5-star ratings. If there was a 6-star rating, I'm sure that's what we would have today.
That's right.
But that helps us get noticed. And thanks again to Ashley, Kristin, and Roxann for being our guests today. Gaston's Great is produced and brought to you by Naomi Hunt and Amy Anderson from GSM Services and edited here locally by the Sumner Group. I'm your host, Stephen Long. Thanks again for hanging out with us, and please keep coming back to hear more reasons why Gaston's great.